Welcome into the Tour Coach, everybody. I'm your host, Tony Ruggiero. Thanks for sitting in. If you're passionate about the game of golf, you love the game of golf, whether you're a coach, a teacher, or a player, recreational golfer, touring professional, aspiring to get better, I think some of the information you're about to hear can help you. These are the conversations with the people that I meet, the coaches that I teach with that I find interesting, the caddies, the fitness experts, mental coaches, or players or students that I meet in my journey to help all of you play better golf. And these are the conversations we have. They're authentic, they're real, you'll laugh, some will make you think. All of it is designed to help you play better golf. I hope you enjoy these conversations, and if you like these, look, you can always go find more of our content, which is available for you on YouTube, on DewsweeperTV. That's at DewsweeperTV on YouTube. All of these, you can watch the video, but you can also watch some of our productions where you can watch us go one-on-one behind the scenes with a real player as we all work together to help people play their best. So check out DewsweeperTV. Please keep listening to the Tour Coach here. I hope you like the conversations. I'm enjoying putting the stuff out, and I enjoy this journey helping all of you play better golf. And once again, though, none of this would be remotely possible without our long-time sponsors, especially Cleveland Shrixon Golf, Mitch McConnell and McConnell Automotive, Buick GMC, Bushnell, Stokely's Midtown Garden Center, Taylor Martino and Rowan in Mobile, all of the great sponsors, and especially our new one, because there's going to be some fun nights ahead, Epic Western Tequila Drink, coming at you live from Texas. So appreciate our sponsors, appreciate all the people that sit and chat with me, and we're going to look forward to bringing you more tour coaches and more content as we help all of us play better golf there on Dewsweeper TV. All right, so here we are, last one of the weekend. We had a big weekend. I don't even really know why we're doing another one, but we've had a big night. And more importantly, we've got Coop on Instagram. I've been wanting to do this
for a couple months.
7, 8 years. We wanted to get him on Instagram, and we did it. Matt handled it all. What is he? Cooped Up Caddy?
Cooped Up Caddy.
At Cooped Up Caddy.
Do a little fishing too.
We're going to do some fishing.
That's the main point, right?
So, anyways, thought we'd kind of wrap up this weekend. We're going to space out the podcast for this weekend. You don't hear all of us every day, but Matt, what you got in store for us?
You know, I think seriously though, the
first of all, before that,
yeah,
thank you for first of all for the decade or more friendship, and for always when you write stuff, you would make me sound reasonably intelligent, which is harder than people think. And then third of all, just for coming down and hanging out, guiding us,
and being part of an organization.
Yeah, a little organization, and being part of this, and we're looking forward to having you do some more stuff.
Well, I always have a blast hanging out with you, and the best part about hanging out with you is I know that the people that are your friends are going to be my friends. So
correct.
I don't forever.
It's a great group here. And to get back to the subject at hand, I think
What is the subject?
no, just what
What did we get from this week?
and this is an interesting conversation to me, and I think it's an important one for Will to contribute to, because we spent a lot of time over the last couple of days with really talented players who are trying to play. And when I say trying to play, it means go from being someone who wants to go shoot a good score to going and playing tournament golf. And the golf between hitting balls on a TrackMan or a quad or in a bay to going and hitting shots on the golf course, there's a big space between those two things. And it was fascinating to watch the mixture of players coming in, and there's such a variety of intensity levels about data around what's happening with the golf swing. Knowing things about pad, knowing things about launch angle, knowing things about spin. And I'm certainly not minimizing how important that knowledge is, but it's really interesting to watch the transition between, okay, how do I make this happen in a controlled setting in a lesson, and how do I make this happen when I go out and play a golf course? And that was to me, watching the coaching development over the weekend, watching you work with players, trying to get them to move from the range to the golf course, and watching Will mentor younger players about how important it is to see shots and feel good about shots. To me, that's the genius of golf coaching. It's mixing the art with the science. I really enjoy watching that process.
I have a question along that lines. Do you think in this age of TrackMan and all the foresights and Bushnells and whatever, do you think junior golfers are starting to lose sight of like what the ball does? Like more worried about what comes up on the screen as opposed to how the ball reacts in real life, especially in the wind that we've had this week.
I think we touched on this, one of the things we did. I know you and I talked about this walking around Caesars, but all the technology and the great coaching and teaching has helped junior golfers get better than ever.
Yeah, quantify what needs to be worked on.
But I also think that but now we also have a generation of juniors and of players that when stuff isn't going good, they don't necessarily know how to fix it. They know how to make numbers, and they know data, but they don't necessarily know when they go out there and it's below 30.
What it makes the ball do. That's what
How to they don't necessarily know.
Or
Right?
ultimately, what makes the score go lower? To me, the whole. I mean, obviously, the point of this is to shoot.
What makes the score? That's going to be the title list. What makes the score go lower?
What makes the score go lower? And yeah, I think you have to know what mechanically makes things change. And that's important. But what makes things change doesn't mean you pick the right thing to make the score go lower.
And I think that, I always go back to my old mentor, but like he said one thing one time to me, he said, you got to ask people what they're looking for, because not everybody wants to play better. Some people only want to hit it further. Some people come and they just want to do this, they want to do that. Like I always ask folks from the first lesson, what's your goal? What are we trying to get out of this? I want students that are actually wanting to shoot lower scores and become better players.
Well, I mean, that's interesting too, because watching good players go through this process and go through lessons and beyond a launch marker. I've heard different players say, "Well, I want to see a draw, and I want, what I'm trying to do is get my path to be this, or get my path to be that." I'm much more pragmatic about it and say, "Well, what is the, what can I be doing that is the most productive shot for me to hit?" That's also why I'm not winning any other tournaments and trying to play pro golf. So maybe my pragmatic approach to it isn't the right approach to it. Maybe the demanding approach about wanting to see a very specific shot shape and that sort of obsession with that might be the better way to go. That's why I have so much respect for what coaches do, because you have to coach people who are up in this, maybe the 99th percentile of talent and determination and stubbornness and all those things that go with that about working on their game. And you have to be able to deal with people that aren't easily led or aren't easily convinced about what they should do. And that's what makes them so good. Well, but what makes coaching so at that level so good is the ability to figure out, how do I communicate with somebody who's got this incredible skill, who can do everything that I ask them to do, and convince them. And I'll never forget having this conversation with Hank Haney about Tiger. And he said, the challenge of coaching Tiger is that you could say, here's what you should do, whatever it was. And he was very skeptical about new information until he could try it himself. And you were never sure how much of it you would ever onboard. And so the question was always, do I give him 400% of what I think he should do? Because I knew he was going to take a third of that, and that might be the right amount. Or do I just say my thing? And the art of that coaching relationship was knowing how to plant the seed to get him to do what you were hoping to do. And he would tell these great stories about, they would be hitting balls on the range, and he would spend the entire day talking about something that he was trying to get Tiger to do. And Tiger was actively resistant to doing it, saying, this, I don't agree, that's not what I want to do, I'm not going to do it. And they would spend the whole day hitting ball, and then Tiger would go away, and he would go do dry swings in his room, big swings in his room at night.
In front of the mirror.
And then they would come up the next morning, and Tiger would say, you know what, I figured out last night in front of the mirror. And he would act as if, and it would be the thing that they were trying to do the day before, and he would present it as if he had thought of it the night before himself.
Right.
And so he needed to have ownership of that idea, and that was the way he.
That's the way he can use it.
Exactly. And so as the coach, you're trying to figure out, how do I plant the seed in the way that it actually grows? And not to belabor, I talk about Randy Smith all the time, but I'm watching Randy Smith coach some of these guys, tour guys over the years. And if you just recorded the lesson and you listened to what he said, you might say he doesn't know what he's talking about, because he's asking them to do things that don't seem like they're the biomechanical things to do. But really what he's telling them is an exaggeration to get them to cheat into the way that he wants them to do.
Maximize.
Right. So if he's saying to a player, I want you to take the club back, but I don't ever want you to let the club get behind your body.
Right.
The reality is it does get behind your body.
It has to.
But what he says to them is designed to get them to change the club in the way he wants them to change it. And to me, the complete joy of my job is watching someone like Tony peck away at someone to maneuver them into the place that he thinks they need to be, even if they're outwardly resistant to it. Because you can be friendly, you can be confrontational. There's all these avenues you can take to do the coaching, and the joy of it is to see that there's somebody who's got all of these kind of different tools in the tool belt, and it might even be like withdrawing from the conversation. And you know what? Okay, I'm going to go over here. You think you got it figured out? I'm going to withdraw from the conversation, and you figure it out. And I love watching that kind of, it's almost like a dance. Mm-hmm. And you see what it takes to get somebody to move, like a football analogy. You want them to just move the ball forward a few yards. It's not as easy just saying, hey, I think you should change your grip to do this, and you should change your back to like this. Right. If it was as simple as just laying it out, anybody would do it.
That's what I think the misnomer or the misunderstanding about coaching and teaching at a certain level is. It's like everybody's like, oh, well, this guy, he just got his
I can fix him in 10 minutes.
Right. And you see that shit on Twitter all the time.
I can fix him.
Yeah, and it's, and that's why I always, Coop's heard me say this. I know Will and I were talking about this in the car. I never criticized any teacher when I haven't stood on the team and watched it, because you don't know what goes on.
And knowing background, you don't know if
right.
the guy's been injured.
Right. You don't know.
Or the other stuff going on in the player's life.
Correct. Right. I think people that just say, oh, I don't know what this guy's doing with this guy. I think, that's jealousy speaking.
Absolutely.
Right. But I know that and it's a weird trait. I've got a bunch of them, but this one in particular
sticks out.
Right. Anyway,
that's a different podcast.
Totally different podcast. But anyways, bug spray. But anyways, whenever I get with a good player and I work at first, I remember it was Lucas' very first lesson. I remember Smiley's first lesson. I remember Bobby Wyatt. I remember Robbie. I remember all these people. Andy, Will McFadden. I remember seeing them, and I remember seeing where they are and where I'd eventually like it to be. And that's how I view it. And I look at it like my job is to take this and eventually bring it to here.
Navigate the boat.
And I hope I'm right. Sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not. But that's how I view players in golf swings. And I remember the first time I watched Will, I always talk about it he had this fucking checker thing. It's bothered me ever since.
But anyways, like, you know, and I remember Lucas, first time I watched Kid Hit Balls. It was at Bay Point in Panama City, flown up. You remember we met at, first time I met you was at Hartford, right? Right. And I remember smiling.
What did you think when you first met us? You were like,
Oh, Lord. You were instantly, you were like, and you know this because of how long we've been together, but like instantly my favorite caddy, just because you were just, whatever I did, which I still don't know what the hell I did, you liked me what I was doing.
yeah. I would agree with that totally.
Right?
There was
No, but I think if you're straight,
There wasn't any.
you're straight. If there are,
Yeah, because, a lot of teachers came in and out of the team, for reasons that's not my word at all. And then when he came in, I was like, you know what? I don't know what, my gut instinct is so good. It's just scary. And I just had a good feeling about it. Give this guy a chance. I mean,
We had a good run. We had a great run.
yeah, we had, and it's still going.
Yeah, we're
The run's not over.
No, run's not over. I'm ready to have
Had a
another.
player, this is a quick one.
Perfect.
Had a player.
Well,
one
hey,
time.
Cooped up caddy.
Monogram.
Cooped up caddy.
Monogram.
Follow him on Instagram.
So we're teeing off, Vaughn Taylor asked me, "Kid, you work for a friend of mine out there in La Kunta Kinte? Wherever, what's it called? No, LA. Out in LA, what's it called?
Laquita.
No, Rancho Cucamonga. Where Kevin Nodd's from. We go out there.
Look at Kevin Nod in this conversation.
Yeah, Kevin's from there. So we go out there at tournament.
You're never gonna work.
And I get with this guy, Josh Dickens. Great player. Good guy. He birdied his first four. And leaving the fourth green, I went, great start, dude. He goes, thanks. And I go, what do you mean? He goes, no way I'm birding this next one. You just ended the, when you say great start, it's like it's over. Wrong way. Whoa. Everything I've tried to do positive, Josh didn't like it. And it took years for me to understand that. You just didn't want to hear that. So probably spoke. You should have spoken. I don't know where I got that, but I remember that like no other learner.
Yeah, the people skill.
They're different people.
But then there's sometimes when you shouldn't keep your mouth shut.
Right,
You gotta talk to
Yeah,
somebody.
it varies.
You gotta
And that's
learn
what they
what
do
people
with
skill.
each and every player. They're all different.
I think that's the hardest part, I think.
I know it is.
Right?
Like I've never seen you go up to three guys, separate guys, and make them push a golf ball. Never the same.
I know early on I didn't do a good job because first time you get out there on tour, like it's a big deal, and you want to do a good job, and obviously want to make money and all that. And I think there's a little bit of being afraid that the guy will fire you. But then I think as you get older and as you go along, then you're like, well, I got it.
It's part of the business.
I also think you just give the shit too, right?
Part of the business. Don't take it personally. You didn't get fired. Didn't have a job before you hired.
I was looking for a job and I found this.
Right. We gotta move on. There's hold no regrets. Let's carry on. Who was
Carry on my way. Is that rock and roll?
Kansas.
Kansas is not rock and roll.
Valley.
Pop.
Kansas is not pop.
So what is it?
Rock. It's another question, right?
Let's wrap this thing up. I gotta get up at 4.
I tell you, watching it today, it gives you an appreciation. For example, like what Butch Harmon does. What Butch Harmon does is coaches belief, and I think because of the great players he's worked with and the success that he's had with them, when he tells a player that what they're doing is the right thing, they believe it. And so he's coaching belief, and I honestly think that that's a good simplified way to think about what good coaching is, whatever that team,
Like certainly we talk about Randy. Randy has that.
And so when you coach belief, that could mean using data, it could mean using transferring, everything that goes into coaching is you're transmitting belief into the player, so the player believes that they can go do what they want to go do. And I think that the Shane, or the unfortunate part of modern coaching in some respects is that it doesn't necessarily coach. It doesn't necessarily promote elite. It promotes dependence. Which is you hit a shot and you look at the coach or you look at the data. You want affirmation from the measurement that you did it right, as opposed to
believing that the ball.
Right, but here in Coop today, Caddy was some of these players, and they flushed one. So you read the wind, you pick the club, you flush it, you hit the exact shot that you want to hit, and to be honest, where it goes is irrelevant at that point.
Doesn't matter.
Because you did
everything.
Because you've done everything, right? And so if it goes over the green into a bad spot, that's not a negative outcome. You gotta say to the player,
I did everything I was supposed to.
You did everything you could, and it didn't work out, but you did what you could do. And so I think what good coaching does is it helps players understand that's a good outcome. That's not a negative outcome. And I think the over reliance on data, and we saw that with some players today where they're looking at it, where you might say some pack number or some spin number is good or bad.
I'd like to see that.
It's good, it's good or bad in the rain, in the bay, but
Well, so take the one young guy, bro, that I had you do some stuff with on the golf course. You did routine and getting ready for a Q school stage. He, been working on some stuff in his golf swing, and he hit 7 or 8. He wants to play draw. Beautiful shots. I put a stick there, and he had started right draw.
Right.
And they were beautiful shots. Yeah, but I mean, am I just doing it by doing this, doing that? And I was like, well, it doesn't matter. Like at a certain point, I mean, there's a place for all that stuff in the golf studio with all the tech and all the measurement. But there's like on the golf course, the only thing that matters is like where does it start, where does it finish, and how good is it?
I did it do what you expected.
Did it do what you expected, basically, right? So that it ends
that's why Scheffler's so good.
Right.
Exactly.
I met
Exactly.
Raul today for the first time. Never worked with him, never saw him yet. Recognized early, great swing. Everything that it takes, he seems to have. And then watching him play, a little bit of golf, and I'm like, this guy, in between shots is a wreck. All that can become of what he's doing is bad thoughts.
Yeah.
So all we did was
we got any more.
kind of dialed in his pre-shot routine, keep it the same. Not only will it make him a faster player, but
you've got some followers.
Oh boy. Keep on coming, guys.
Keep on coming. Coop's an open book.
Yeah, you watch Randy and Scotty work, and the all of that is about what shot do I want to see, and did I see it?
And I got a serious question. I don't have a clue. Has Scotty always had the foot action in his game? He has. I think it's great.
Randy's always said, and I stopped at Golf Digest in August after 25 years. That was my last time, and the last big piece I did was
the best story I've ever read in golf.
It was Randy's oral history of working with Scotty and what they, how that all worked. And I got so much joy writing that story because Randy's one of my favorite people, and the responsibility that he felt in not extracting the genius out of what Scotty did, which is how do I make this better without taking away his understanding of what the club face was doing. And so the stuff with his feet, it was all very secondary to his awareness of what the club face was.
Right.
And to be able to watch that from the time Scotty was a 7-year-old, to see that as a spectator, and then communicate it, I'm just super happy I got to write that story.
Right.
Unbelievable. Great story.
That made me feel pretty good.
And he's
the
best. And obviously,
He is
unbelievable. But they're good people. Good things happen.
And hey,
to people.
hats off to this game. Scott, he's
Jen
a great
Scott
guy.
Best.
Great guy.
Guys, this has been a hell of a weekend. We're going to do it again. Matt, we're going to make you come down 4 times a year and hang out with us. And next time Coop will be up probably 1 million followers.
Let's get it.
Let's get it. We're gonna have some fun.
Thank y'all for watching.
It's fun.